Everybody, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to a match reaction for Oxford United. A little bit of a different one today. We've got a special guest with me. I'm joined with Charlie Haynes, One Rovers Vlogs over on YouTube as well. But we're doing a match reaction, not just for any old reason. It's FA Cup, of course, Oxford United against Bristol Rovers. Charlie, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, mate. Cheers for having me on. Hope you're doing well.
I am, mate, and no worries at all. Again, a really, really interesting game going into this one. And it actually, going into it, we thought it was going to be interesting, and it actually turned out to be interesting. And that's the most important thing as well. There were so many different aspects of the game. Like I said, you never know what you're going to get in the FA Cup. Bristol are now in League Two. And Oxford are in League One, I'd say doing really well in League One, but it proves it does not matter what league you're in. Anybody can get anything from the game. And in the end, no one really gets anything from the game. It's going to a replay. I mean, both people have different respects on it. I'll come on and do my perspective in just a second, but I want to start with you, Charlie. What do you take from this game as a Bristol Rovers fan? And do you take, you must be happy with it. There's no doubt there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, going into the game, it was always going to be tough. We're obviously not in the best of form, 18th in League Two. Obviously, you've been flying at the moment, 6th in the league, scoring a lot of goals. I think 3 or 4 wins in a row as well. So yeah, it was always going to be tough. But I mean, I think we started off, quite well. But obviously, Oxford took the league. Of course, it had to be Taylor. He had to score. And he was probably one of your best players today. I think there was definitely an element of luck, because you hit the post and crossbar like God knows how many times in that game. And our keeper, who's been pretty much class all season, Belshaw, who we signed from Harrogate in the summer on a free, he's been class and he kept us in the game. But overall, I knew it was always going to be hard. When we've got, because I thought our midfield kept getting overrun because probably a combined age of 69 with Coots and Whelan. So
not a young midfield.
Yeah, so obviously when you've got Brannagan, who's class, and Sykes, who's a quality midfielder as well, it was always going to be tough. And I'm just happy we sort of hung in there, rode our luck, with Oxford hitting the woodwork a lot and our keeper being on good form. But I'm just happy that we kept going, and our hopefully our home form can turn around, because our away form, we're 5 unbeaten now if you count this game as well. So it's just the home form now. But yeah, overall, very happy.
You're going to want the home form because it's the home form, and the home game is going to be the replay. So, if you can turn that home form around, you could progress through to round 2. One thing I also add to the game as well, and I think you're spot on with that sort of the luck aspect, but I'd also have to say, I just don't think we, as Oxford, we weren't just that clinical. I think that cost us as well. The game could have been killed off. There's no point in me sitting here and lying. This game could have been 4-1, 5-1 at points.
Yeah.
But the most important thing from a Bristol perspective is you were resilient. Your players didn't stop running. Your players didn't stop working hard. And that's what kept you in the game. I think Joey Barton, we know how Joey Barton likes to play, did it at Fleetwood. He's doing it at Bristol as well. I think the game plan was probably, and I want to hear from you as well with this, but the game plan was probably just how long can we stay in the game? And also, can we keep the game really tight? Because you did keep the game tight. At points it could have gone off, and it could have, you could have been down by 3 goals at points in the game. But the most important thing is you weren't. And down to just looking at the scoreboard, it was still 2-1, and you were still in the game, and that gave you every bit of confidence for your players to work that extra bit. And then in the end, I think that resilience, it paid off. You got the penalty, so you must be really, really happy. Most importantly, with the resilience of your players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the main thing that sort of I was happy with. And that, that's all we want as fans, for players to keep going. Because that, maybe even a couple of weeks ago, that game could have, we could have conceded the first goal. Obviously, it was quite early and our heads could have dropped, but we stayed in the game. Even though we didn't have loads of chances, when we did go forward or did have a chance, we looked very dangerous. I think Evans, who scored the penalty, hit the crossbar as well. And, there's a few other chances as well, but obviously it was mainly Oxford. But when we did look, when we was going forward, we did look good. And I'm surprised we actually scored 2, because we didn't even have a striker on, because all of our strikers are injured. Like Collins is sort of a striker / cam, but he was on the bench. And of course, it would have been better if we would have had Pittman, but obviously he's injured as well. So, to play with no strikers and still look dangerous when we did go forward was obviously good. And like we both said, obviously there was an element of luck, but when there's always, 1 goal in a game, it can go in any way. And, I'm just glad we managed to, it was a bit of a stupid decision from Hansen, who made the foul for the penalty.
Silly.
But yeah, I'll definitely take that, and hopefully we can take it into some tough games in the league now.
Yeah, and like you said, it's spot on. The longer you stay in the game, that more belief that those players build, and the longer that continues, the more chance you've got to get in that goal. And like you said there, it was 100% a penalty, and the fact that was given, that was even why that challenge was made in the penalty area and what Hansen was thinking, I will never know. So silly. I think he maybe thought he had more time than he did, but either way, challenging that in the penalty area, he stayed down a little bit longer, hoping the referee was going to give him the benefit of the doubt. There's no chance you're going to do that. It's a penalty every day of the week, and as much as it hurts to say, I think in terms of the chances created, I think maybe we did deserve to win the game. However, do you deserve to win games of football when you're, quite wasteful in those opportunities? That's a different question completely. Something that I would say as well, and I think this is a massive, a massive credit to you and Bristol, is we've seen much worse League One sides at the Kassam this season and in League One. I've watched every Oxford United game this season, and we've seen much worse sides. I won't name which ones they are because I know that upsets a few fans, but I've got to be honest, we have seen worse. We have seen worse teams, and that must excite you because you did get relegated last season, but I promise you, we have seen worse sides, and Bristol came here and they look very, very well organised.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see because sort of this season, actually going into the, if you'd have said that to me 2 weeks ago before we got our win at Harrogate, who, they hadn't lost a game at home all season and they're doing well, like one of the underdog teams, before that game, I'd have said we'd probably lose 3-1, but I had a tiny bit of, faith, and, especially when Barton on his preview said he's going to play a strong team, because usually he doesn't take the FA Cup that serious. So when he said we have a strong team, I thought, because in my preview I said a 1-1 draw. So, but yeah, it's credit to that he's sort of near enough kept the same team. He made a few changes, but yeah, it was just credit. Especially we've got quite a young, obviously apart from Whelan and Coots, we've got quite a young team, and especially young defence as well. So it was good for them that we looked organised, and that's all I hope for now. Is just as long as you're organised, you've always got a chance of doing well in games. Obviously, I know you had, like we talked about, you had quite a few chances, but for us to stay in the game for as long as we could, I'm just happy with that because on paper, really, Oxford should have, if they'd have buried their chances, they probably would have. Could have been a battering, but we got a rub of the green, with the, hitting the woodwork a lot and you being wasteful, but I'll take it, 2-2 draw, I'll take that. And, apart from last season, when you beat us 2-0 at the Kassam, we've obviously had a really good record against you. I think it's like 8 or 9 games unbeaten. Well, apart from last season, I'm beaten at Oxford away. So I'll just take record. That, Yeah.
Now, I've got a bit, and you mentioned there about you fielding a strong side. Oxford United felt, we fielded a very, very strong side as well, and it wasn't, and that's what I think made it even better. It was two sides that were almost playing their sort of league side, if they, it was generally, two very, very strong sides playing against each other. And I saw when the team came out, that'll be a side that we expect we'll probably take to Ipswich next weekend. It'll probably be the same side we look to take to Wigan, Rotherham, Plymouth, these sort of sides. And, you gave us an amazing game of football. Like you said there, and we'll keep coming back to it. We did have chances that should have hit the back of the net and should have killed the game off. But against some quality players that we fielded today, against your side, you were so resilient. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way, because we know that Bristol Rovers this season, you have had games where, and I think it's in the preview that Carl said, I think he said that you have had performances that have been all right. It's the results that just haven't really been coming to fruition. And that again, that's frustrating, because we've had that where you felt like you come away from the game thinking you just deserve more than you're getting. And, you are 16th in League Two. But do you feel now that you can take that and then take that back into the league and climb your way up? Because it's so early in the season. You can you can really climb your way up that League Two table.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's still really tight. I think we're either 16th or 18th, but we're only 5 points off the playoffs. That's how tight. So tight. I think most of the leagues, are really tight still. It's just about whether, like we can play, if we can play like we did today, as in like the organisation, then we can do well, because we got some Northampton coming up who are like top 6. We've got Forest Green top of the league. So as long as we can put performances in and keep going like we did today, then there's every chance that we can turn the season around, because obviously it's been poor from our standards. We're meant to be going up automatically, and we've had a very slow start, but now hopefully is the time to sort of kick on, hopefully.
Yeah, and we had a slow start last season, Oxford United. We think we were at this point last season. I think we were still, in 17th, 18th, similar to where you are, really. And we went on an amazing run. I think it was 9 games winning run, and we finished in the 6th spot. So there's no way on earth that you're out of anything now. And like you said, it's so tight, and League One's exactly the same. That's so tight as well. All you need is a bit of consistency. And I've been saying this on the podcast for a while now. If Oxford United find consistency, because League Two is the same as League One in terms of everyone is beating everyone, and that again, when that happens, you need to go on a 5-game winning run, and you are really in contention for something special. And if Bristol can do that, and Oxford the same as well, we both could end up with a really, really good season at the end of it. So I want to say as well, I watch a lot of your stuff. Even when you're in League Two, I watched it all last season in League One. I watch it even still now, because I think you're fantastic at what you do. But I wanted to speak to you a little bit about a video that you made quite recently with the Barton situation with Joey Barton, and about you being very, very honest. I think I respect it. I respect your honesty towards what you said in the video about your thoughts on Joey Barton still being in charge at Bristol. And I don't expect you to sort of change your mind. I would never do that. I think when you make the decision, you make that decision. But today, and I can see you smiling, today, that was a positive performance.
Yeah.
Does that change any? On the back of that, I believe that video was made before your Harrogate win as well.
Yeah.
Does that give you any lead? How does that look like now? What does that look like?
Well, it's just so frustrating, because obviously, like, everyone knows like how bad his record is in the league, since last season as well. But it's just so annoying, because like you said, I was very angry with, it's just the way he always, obviously we've had a lot of injuries. I mean, even now he's got 11 players out injured, including 3 strikers. But even that, he's always changing the team, which is frustrating me. I think that's why we haven't got consistency. But it's weird. Like, everyone, even Rovers fans, are like, 1 minute you're happy, like I am now. Good draw away, won last week. But then there's other games like we've had where Newport at home got battered 3-1. Swindon, Leyton Orient lost 3-1, and it's just that cycle. But I'm hoping now we can sort of find some consistency, but it just always happens to me, because I was so optimistic at the start of the season, and a lot of people have, especially since the season started, a lot of people have said that I've been negative. But if you look back at my predictions, I predicted us to win the league. So I'm usually the optimistic one, but then I try and be as positive as I can, and say how it is, like you said about the Barton situation. I've done a few videos on it. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because he's got 2 cases coming up as well. He's got one from the Barnsley manager, where I think he hit him like a few years ago, and one with his wife, which apparently he hit her or done something to her as well. So I think it's just mainly reactionary when I say about Barton, because of the results and the way he, at home we've been like really defensive against like pretty, average teams, and it's just the way that. But again, he goes. Hopefully now is the start of something, because obviously very good result for us today, and beat Harrogate last week, who hadn't lost at home all season. So hopefully this is the changing point, but I'm not sure. I'm sort of still, it's sort of in the middle for me, really. But obviously when the team plays well and Barton does, good tactics and whatever, I'll say that it's good. But when it's bad, I'll just be as truthful and as honest as I can be, as a fan.
And that's what you've got to be. You've got to be honest. You can't. But I wouldn't say that you're being negative in the sense that if you're predicting a team to win the league and they're sat in 16th after 15 games a season, then I think you have all right to sort of be questioning those decisions, by the manager. But one thing I would say there, and you talk about what you're going to take from this game and how Barton can use that. And I think he got his tactics spot on today. I generally thought they were spot on with how he approached the game today. I thought even though you've had a lot of injuries, I thought personnel-wise as well, I thought you looked very, very good. Again, I'm not going to pretend like I know your squad inside out, but from the team you fielded today, I generally was very, very impressed with how they worked as a unit. If he can play like he does like that, I know you can't play like, you can't copy and paste the performance to the next one, because if you could do that, we'd all do it. But surely you can take, there's so many aspects of today's performance. If Joey Barton looks at that and he goes, we can take anything into the next League Two fixture. I know it is from maybe it looked a bit from a naive perspective. You can win games this season. If you set up as organised as you did today, you can win games in League Two. And I see that. But like you said there, you saw the start of the season. It wasn't good enough from Bristol at all. So there must be a massive improvement between the start of the season and the performance you've just seen today.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's all about consistency. And if you can, hopefully we have no more injuries and we can start, fielding the same team. Because today, I think he made 3 changes, but again, that was because Luke Thomas was injured. And, a few other people were either rested or on the bench or whatever. But yeah, if he can keep it now and sort of the same tactically, obviously our games, not many games, well, I doubt any games would be as hard as it was today, playing a really good side in Oxford who are chasing promotion. But yeah, it's all about consistency, if we can play like we did today and then get players back, then, I've got every, feeling and faith in the team that we can start pushing on now. It's just, like you said, it's all about consistency. If Barton does everything right and, like he done today, and the other games, then, then I won't be moaning. But if he, if he changes it and goes back to a different formation or does, not very good subs or, because most of the time it is his in-game management, but most of the stuff is what he says in pre-match and after games that annoys a lot of fans, a lot of Rovers fans, but we'll see what happens and hopefully we can kick on, fingers crossed.
And that's the most important thing. And finally, I want to wrap it up with the obvious question. Of course, we've got a replay now, which means we've got another game. And I want to speak to you a little bit about that game. I know we've just finished this one, but I believe it's going to be, I want to say next Tuesday when a lot of the games are being replayed. So I think it may be then. I do want to hear I don't know whether or not how confident you are with predictions, or if you do predictions as much as, or how confident you are with doing predictions for the game. And it now is a completely different game. It's away from home now for us. It's home for you. You've now got the home fans. By the way, your away fans today were absolutely fantastic. I've got to be honest. It was a great atmosphere in there. It generally brought the whole game to life. I think it was 5,000 fans in there just over, but it felt like there was 10,000 fans in there. It was an amazing atmosphere. Matty Taylor did help that. I've got to be honest. Matty Taylor being there definitely did help the atmosphere. And he was, by the way, as well, we'll touch on that before we come on to predictions. There was points in the game where I thought at least one team was going to be down to 10 men. It was a very, very quite, it was a scrappy game. And it was almost, there were points in the game where it was very, very clear what Barton were doing, and some of them were definite fouls, but it was very, very cleverly done. The whole game was definitely sort of pictured by Barton. It definitely just turned out, and almost just sort of each different, part of the puzzle definitely just worked together really, really well. And part of that was slowing the game down, staying in the game, and those fouls and those different parts and the different aspects of that game were massive in that. But yeah, Matty Taylor was definitely a big part of the atmosphere being a good one. In terms of predictions for the next game, like I said, it's a completely different ball game now. Do you must be confident, because I don't know what sort of side we're going to be playing, because if we've played Ipswich on the Saturday and then we've got you on the Tuesday, again, that completely changes. I presume you'll have a game on that Saturday as well. So I'm not entirely sure how that's going to look in terms of the personnel and those starting 11s. But if we say it's difficult to predict, but still, how do you see that game going now? Because like I said, it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've both got, sort of tough, you've got quite a tough run in League One, and, we have as well. We got 6th in the league coming up. We got 2nd in the league coming up. We got top of the league coming up. So I think both teams will, I think both teams will be slightly weaker, but with us, I think it'd probably be the same team, because we, depending on when our injured players get back, we haven't, because we've got a big squad. We've got like a squad of like 26 players, or maybe just under, but over 11 players at the moment are currently out. So I should imagine it'd probably be the same team, because even today on our bench, it was mainly a few young players, so it'll probably be the same team for us. I think you might play a weaker team, to focus on the league a bit more. I mean, both teams will want to focus on the league, of course, but I'm not really sure. I'll probably just say I'm not sure, because I got a feeling that we'll play as well as we did today. We managed to get the draw, and then we'll probably just lose the home game, because our home form has been terrible as of late. We've conceded 9 goals in our last 3 home games, and we've not looked good at all. So we'll probably lose like 2-1 or 2-0, but I'm hoping obviously not. But I'll just say that at the moment I'll probably lose.
It's so difficult. I know you've done your prediction now, so I've got to do mine. It's hard. I mean, like you said there, I can see it being again a battle. I can see it being such a tight game. I could even see it going to extra time and then eventually penalties. I generally think it's going to be really, really tight. So I'll say I'm gonna sort of cheat my way out of it, but not really. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 1-1. It'll go to penalties, but at that point it's complete lottery. So I think, but all I'm gonna say is I think whatever happens, I think that today's game has shown that the two sides against each other with two very strong sides proves a really quite fascinating game of football. I think the away game, I think the second leg, I think it's going to be really, really intriguing and similar to this one. Maybe not scrappy. I think that's quite a negative way of putting it, but it was a little bit scrappy at times. But it was a 2-2 game. It was a classic FA Cup tie. I'll say it's going to be very, very tight, very, very close. Similar today, really. I'm going to go 1-1 and then complete coin flip for the penalties. But either way, I think today what we both saw, and from both sides, I thought it was a really, really good game of football, and that's the most important thing. A great game of football, a great FA Cup game, and that's all you can ask, really. No one's going out to lose the side either. They will eventually, but not right now. And that's the most important thing. But Charlie, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast for the first time. I'd love to have you back on again soon. Maybe even after we can have another chat again. Maybe after the replay, we'll see how that goes. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's been great.
Yeah, cheers for having me on, mate. Keep up the good work. Keep smashing it. Your content's really good as well. So, yeah, and all the best for even though there's a bit of a rivalry between Oxford and Rovers, but still better luck for the season, and hopefully should be another interesting game when we play you in the replay.
Likewise, mate. Thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words, and exactly the same to you as well. You just continue to create the fantastic content you're doing. Remember, you can check that out. One Rovers Vlogs over on YouTube as well. Just believe hit over 3,000 subscribers as well, which is very, very impressive. And also, I saw you on League of 72 as well. So a very, very fantastic appearance on there as well. But yeah, definitely check that channel out. A fantastic Bristol Rovers channel. And thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.